Recently, Alex and I have been craving something funny to watch because our lives aren't already big enough jokes. So I was scrolling through Reddit and found some people recommending Prison School. And it's just as good as everyone said it was. Prison School is about 5 guys living in every teenage boy's pipe dream: to attend a school with a male to female ratio of 1 to 200. The school only allowed girls to enroll until the chairman said, "There's too much estrogen in this room. We need some alpha male mansplaining Andrew Tates around here." And after a couple days of advertising, they got the 5 weirdest guys to enroll. Kiyoshi, Gakuto, Shingo, Andre, and Joe are their names, but we'll get into more detail about their characters later. Now, you'd think given so many chances for these boys to interact with their fellow classmates, they would have a couple of female friends. But that couldn't be further from the truth. These boys suffer from a disease called negative Riz, and because of that, the girls absolutely despise and loathe their existence, to the point where they force them to group up and sit together during lunch, where all they ever do is talk about girls and what they would do if they ever spoke to a girl. After a few hours of being surrounded by all this estrogen, the boys are at their wits' end, and decide the next logical step is to devise a Mission Impossible-like plan where they peep on the girls bathing. Surely nothing can go wrong here, right? They get caught by the Underground Student Council, which is supposed to be a secret branch of the regular Student Council, except it's a worse kept secret since your mom told you were the least favorite child. Now, I'm sure most of you guys are well aware of the power scaling of the Student Council in anime. It can really range from K-On!, where all they do is paperwork and the annoying stuff nobody else wants to do, to Kill la Kill Student Council, where they practically run the world. I will put them right about here. They don't control the world, but they do violate human rights like it's nobody's business. So they have the 5 boys thrown into a prison on campus, subjecting them to beyond scared straight-esque tactics. They're scared alright, but something else is becoming straight, if you catch my drift. Eventually, the boys are tipped off about a secret plot by the Underground Student Council to bait them into doing various illegal activities and getting them expelled. So now it's up to the boys to prove their innocence to the chairman that they're being set up by shedding some light onto the secret operation, DTO.
We said it before and we'll say it again. This anime was as good as everyone said it was, and more. And the fact that it constantly keeps being brought up in recommendation posts is a testament to how much of an impact it had on its audience. The show pulls no punches on its dirty jokes or ecchi gags, and it's shameless how many they have each episode. Like, the amount of panty shots in just the first episode alone is insane. It's like the animation director never stopped to question why, but question how they can add more. And they can get away with this because the production committee knows who its audience is. They didn't have to hold anything back because the show was made by degenerates for degenerates, and you can feel this in the writing. Like, who else is gonna laugh at 2 guys being misunderstood as gay lovers, I mean baseball players, while their friends try to figure out which one is the pitcher and which one is the receiver? The funny thing is that most of the jokes go even further beyond just 1 or 2 episodes. They intertwine with the plot and actually make them relevant to the main story, which really threw us off because I thought the jokes were episodic like the ones you see in something like Family Guy. For example, in episode 3, there was a joke made about Kyoshi and how he has hemorrhoids because he started doing butt stuff with one of the boys, when in reality, his ass started bleeding because he got stabbed by the heel of the vice president. 3 episodes later, Kyoshi gets stabbed again, but this time in the asshole to protect his friend, and plays it off like it was just his hemorrhoids acting up. I can't believe I just said that. And this is just the tip of the dick. No wait. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's one of many jokes they have throughout the series, and it made us realize that ecchi comedy doesn't have to be written poorly in order to be funny. You can also make gay butt jokes all day and you'll likely get a good response. Now most of the time, I feel guilty liking ecchi anime, but this time, I didn't feel ashamed. I felt speechless at how well executed it was. Another great example of the clever writing that I can't simply pass over is the chairman and his crippling obsession with thick Latinas. At first you might think this is one of those one-off gags, but then the joke keeps reappearing in different situations, to the point where it actually plays a critical moment in the story where he ruins one of Kyoshi's plans. And then you realize the author wasn't just writing because he needed a character to self-insert. He was writing to subvert everyone's expectations of typical writing in ecchi comedy. The man was out to prove that you can write dirty jokes without sacrificing the depth in which the joke can go.
Before heading into the show, I always wonder what made it goated as one of the best ecchi comedy anime in the genre. Was it the jokes? Was it the profound writing? The unhinged characters? What was it that made the show rise to the top of 150 most popular anime? And then it hit me like a bag of bricks. There aren't many ecchi comedies that go as far as Prison School does. And what I mean by that is that anime in that genre tend to lean more towards one or the other, while Prison School has that perfect balance of comedy, ecchi, and a progressive storyline. In episode 3, Kiyoshi runs a simulation of his escape plan to meet up with a girl, and as he's crawling through the drain system, he overhears Shingo talking to Andre and Joe about the gay horrors he saw in the showers earlier. Just in this scene alone, it contains all 3 aspects I just mentioned, perfectly paced and baked into the story. But what really caught our attention was how surprisingly high the production value was. I mean, just look at this camera work and depth perception. It's really easy to miss these details, especially if you're too busy laughing at Kiyoshi getting some head from Gakuto. I think one of the big things that really sold this anime was the voice actors. Some of you guys might know already, but we're sub-overdub supremacist, and will be that way until the day we die. With that being said, the dubbed version is fucking amazing too.
And I'll commemorate it with a photo. Smile big for the camera, throw the gang sign or something. Hey, what the hell?
We may be subbed over dubbed, but we gotta give credit where credit is due. Most of the time, jokes just don't hit the same way when they're translated from Japanese to English. But dirty jokes are what English was made for.
I'll get it. Keep still. No!
It's definitely one of the few anime that have go to English dubs, but beyond the voices and witty writing, there's something else that needs some recognition: the characters.
Truthfully, without the weird characters, this show is half as funny as it is, and that's really not an understatement. The interactions they have, the situations they get mixed up in, the hilarious misunderstandings are all rooted in the characters' quirky traits. You have Kiyoshi, who's the least weird character in the show that keeps everything grounded to a certain extent. He gets put in a lot of weird situations, but when push comes to shove, he'll do what it takes to make sure everybody eats. Then you have Gakuto, the guy who talks funny and gets his ass beat like a JoJo character. He's the smartest of the group and has shown he's willing to do what it takes to get things done. Like take it up the ass, cut his hair, destroy his own belongings, and even shit his pants in class. It's been a week since I watched this, and I still can't believe he tanked the vibrator for the boys. Next you have Shingo, the blonde delinquent that kinda just fills out the checklist of people that's in every group. He's kind of an asshole, but he does have his moments. Never mind. Then comes Andre, the biggest masochist I've ever seen. Not because he's physically big, but because he enjoys getting abused like there's no tomorrow. He likes getting beat so much, he actually suffers from withdrawals and starts hallucinating like a crackhead if he doesn't receive any punishment. And last but not least, you have Joe, the guy who's always wearing a hoodie and constantly coughing up blood because of canker sores in his throat. I'm honestly not too sure what the exact reasons are for the author writing Joe this way, but I guess it doesn't matter when you cuss in English. He's also a huge ant enthusiast that'll stab a bitch if they mess with them. In this case it was his homie, but next time Kyoshi's asshole won't get in the way. Every single one of the boys is unique and funny in their own way, but start grouping them together and they become the ultimate comedians of misfortunes and misunderstandings. Although when they were all grouped together, the tone of the anime became way more story driven instead of building more jokes, but we'll let it slide because the jokes about the chairman's hobby make up for it.
Now don't get the wrong idea, it's an orthopedic mouse pad. My wrist has been acting up lately and this gives the right amount of support.
Pardon me.
Overall, the anime was way more enjoyable than we ever thought it could be, and knowing that the studio managed to adapt 82 chapters all within 12 episodes while keeping up the pacing of the story with the jokes makes it that much more enjoyable. You can tell that the team working on the anime really wanted this ecchi comedy to be different from the rest, and with his name still being thrown around almost 10 years later, the fruits of their labor has definitely paid off. This show is just really good, but not everybody can just go and watch it. You gotta be invited to watch, cause you know, it's that kind of ecchi. But don't worry, all of you guys are invited to watch, courtesy of the Cheung Bros. Now go to your room, lock your door, pull the blinds down, put your headphones on, and enjoy the ride.